5. Is there a mover? Councillor Welsh, seconded by Councillor Santa. Do you wish to speak to the item?
I'd like to move the recommendation.
Thank you. If Councillor Santa has distributed some additions that he would like to the recommendation, that I think arises from a submission that was circulated to all councillors from the North Sydney Transport Association. So if you would put your additions to Councillor Welsh.
Thank you. I support the motion as well, but would like to suggest a minor amendments to the draft submission. Point small Roman numerals 4 that we put in, have the wording be deliver strategic cycleway corridors, including protected connections along Military Road and Pacific Highway. The text does refer to Pacific Highway, but it's not in one of the draft. Also, a new point, small Roman numeral 7, explore the establishment of a dedicated public transport link from the lower North Shore to the northern beaches.
Councillor Welsh, will you take those additions on? Thank you. And you will as seconder, Councillor Santa. Councillor Welsh, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Look, this is an excellent, sorry. This is an excellent submission and I congratulate the staff. Council strongly supports the New South Wales Government's goals of encouraging walking and cycling for short trips. Military Road is identified as a key strategic cycleway corridor connecting North Sydney, Mosman and the Northern Beaches, yet there remains a lack of safe and direct cycling infrastructure along this route. Council regularly receives community feedback about safety concerns associated with cyclists riding on footpaths, which reflects the clear demand for safer cycling connection. And as someone who regularly rides in this area, I mean, I'm too frightened to ride on Military Road. I'm not a mammal. I like to go up to the shops on my electric bike and I don't try to kill, I try to stay off the pathways as much as I can, but Military Road is you have to cross it in order to get to the shop. So they really need to do something about the safer cycling connections. I urge the New South Wales Government as part of the Northern Beaches Network Review to prioritize delivery of a protected cycleway along Military Road to improve safety, connectivity, and active transport outcomes for our community. Again, thank you to the staff for the excellent submission. I support the recommendation.
Are there any other speakers? Councillor Santa.
Thank you. I'd like to point to the anomaly in this Warringah Freeway upgrade saga. The Ernest Street ramp onto the freeway, which no longer provides access to all the directions north and south on the freeway. Now it only provides access to the Harbour Tunnel, which means that drivers from the northern beaches needing to access the city will no longer use the McPherson Street, Ourimbah Road, Ernest Street bypass to access the Warringah Freeway and the bridge. They'll have to use, you guessed it, Military Road, which means, of course, that this whole argument that the new expanded freeway will reduce traffic on Military Road is meaningless. It's also a shame that in planning this project, there was no consideration given to a cycleway alongside the freeway, so that cycleway access to and from the North Shore now has to be alongside the already narrow and congested Pacific Highway. Therefore, I with regret support the recommendation in this report for construction of the Pacific Highway cycle path, not have the objection to the cycle path, but the Pacific Highway is an unfortunate choice, but there's no other. It's also a pity that there's no provision here for the construction of a dedicated public transport system, which probably would be a metro system from the lower North Shore to the northern beaches, if only as a substitute for the scrapping of the Northern Beaches Tunnel private transport link, which decision I applaud. What's proposed here is continued use of the already overstretched surface transport system, predominantly for the benefit of private vehicles, with some tinkering at the edges of a massively growing transportation problem on the lower North Shore through small improvements to bus usage. I approve the motion with the suggested amendments to the draft submission.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers? Councillor Hoy.
Thank you. I support the council's submission and the amendments proposed position on the network review. The review should prioritise public and active transport improve safety and accessibility, and deliver infrastructure that supports sustainable travel. This includes delivery of strategic cycleway corridors, improved bus network performance, and targeted local area traffic and safety treatments. I particularly support prioritising public and active transport over private vehicle capacity along corridors within the network. Public and active transport infrastructure improves public amenity, community well-being, and is a direct and tangible response to cost of living pressures. I think there are many people who would appreciate not having to use their cars right now at a time of acute fuel price stress. It is also fundamental if we are to achieve our climate change emissions reduction targets. It's a really easy and straightforward win with minimal downside. Any changes to the Northern Beaches transport network that provides more capacity for private vehicle use will be short-sightedness in the highest degree. Time and again, internationally and domestically, we see expanded road capacity rapidly swallowed up again by increased usage. It is the worst form of build it and they will come. What we should be championing is climate resilient and community enhancing transport modes, and I support the council submission on that basis, that our support is contingent on these prioritised being acted upon.
Thank you. Councillor Keane.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a little bit of a different view, and I want to be clear to the residents of North Sydney that this is council's submission in response. So this is the position that council is actually taking tonight, and residents can actually put in submissions as well, and they close on the 15th of June. So if you do want to put in a submission, you can actually put your own in. I'm more of a balance, to be honest. Some people do want to use their car in a short-term mechanism. I'm a great believer in cycleways and walkways. I support you on that, Councillor Hoy, but I'm more about a balanced view where you can have a little bit of everything. So I really want to see a bit more of a balance in this submission, especially around cycleways. We've got a disaster happening on Yeo Street at the moment, which is quite short-sighted, where a cycleway is proposed to go right in front of a fire station. So I'd like to see a little bit more strategy around the cycleways and not just putting them in places. I mean, Military Road for a cycleway, that's a busy road. I think you've really got to consider this in a safe mechanism and not putting cycleways on roads like Yeo Street right in front of the fire station.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers? Councillor Spence.
Look, I also share concerns around cycleways on Military Road. Military Road is going to become a bit of a disaster area. That's quite clear. I think it already is. Getting access to Military Road is already taking considerably longer. So I am generally supportive, but I do have some concerns. Thank you.
Are there any other speakers? Would you like your right of reply, Councillor
thank you.
Welsh?
Thank you very much, Mayor.
You don't
I'm
have
just,
to reserve it. You have it automatically when
Oh.
there've been speakers against. Thank you. You have the floor.
oh, okay, thank you. I'm just going to disagree with Councillor Keane. I think the Yeo Street, Neutral Bay to Mosman, improvements on the walking and cycleway submission that we're going to be that we're going to be developing is absolutely fantastic, and I can hardly wait till it's done.
I'll put the item. All those in favour and those against, and that is carried. Well, that brings us to 9.6, a submission, draft submission on